Well, the funny thing is I'm still with Target, so that part hasn't changed. I'm the misfit entrepreneur. And the reason why I'm the misfit entrepreneur is because a few years ago I had no idea I was even going to be an entrepreneur. I was a retail manager at Target, and I've done that for a lot of years, and a divorced mom of 3 kids. And I was really shy growing up, actually. I was in a family with 10 kids. There I am with glasses on the left. My sister put that picture together of all of us when we were younger. That's the wrong circle. I'm the one with the glasses. And then on the other side is me and my kids, and they are grown. And it's kind of that thing where you don't know what you want to do when you grow up. Well, in my 40s, I still didn't know what I wanted to do when I grew up. I just knew that I wanted more. I was really, really shy growing up in this large family. And everybody in my family is either musically or artistically talented. And I didn't feel like I got any of that. And I always thought I was going to be a singer, though. Funny enough, some of my family is professional singers. But that wasn't something I went after because I was too scared to. So I got married, I had kids. And what I always loved doing, though, growing up in a large family and having kids of my own, was, when you have a big family, you can't afford to do things. And so I've always found those free or affordable events in the community. And so I've had a passion for that and supporting small businesses. So I've always done really fun things because my mom did that with us when we were kids, and those were some of my favorite memories. And then you'll see in the middle of this slide a picture of, I'm trying not to cry, a picture of me holding my brother's hand before he passed away. And he died of a traumatic brain injury. I can usually get through it. Unexpectedly, but it was about 2.5 years ago, and it reminded me that life is really, really short. And I wanted to start saying yes to every opportunity to see what life would bring me, because people don't ever wish that they worked more at the end of their lives. They wish that they spent more time with their loved ones and did things that they always wanted to do. So I decided that's what I want to do. I want to go after the things that I never thought I could do, and I don't want to have those regrets. So I started saying yes to every opportunity, and I decided I was going to start a business called Everyday Adventures so that I could show other people how to do that too, because the thing about opportunities is that they just keep coming when you keep saying yes. And so I get to do a lot of fun things, and people are always surprised to see that, and they're like, you get to do a lot of fun things. And I'm like, I know. But so I wanted to show other people how to do that. So Everyday Adventures. And people were really skeptical when I first started telling them I wanted to start this business called Everyday Adventures. And I don't let things get me down for long, but I decided, well, what is it? What is it that drives me to do this? And I realized it was my time with my daughter and our mother-daughter Monday dates and my girlfriend time and my sister trips and the fun memories we make. So Everyday Adventures became Everyday Girl Adventures. And so I started doing some themed events because those are really fun. But when I started networking, I felt like a misfit in the business world. And so I thought somebody should create a group for misfit entrepreneurs. So that's what I did next. I created a group called Misfit Networking, where every misfits and we showcase a different woman-owned business. And I have it formatted like a team build so that it's fun and everybody feels like they belong while supporting a small business owner and learning about the space. And then that brought me another opportunity to getting my own space where I could do my own events. So I now have 2 studio spaces in Old Colorado City called Everyday Girl Adventures and The Hidden Gem. And those are rentable. I do some of my events there, but people can rent it as well to do their own events. I do a lot of baby showers, bridal events, birthday parties, very fun. And because I provide a platform for all women, what was the next thing I was going to do? I was going to write a book. So I have started a series of stories, and the first book was Everyday Girl Adventures. The next book is going to be out in June called Everyday Adventures, and it's going to include men's stories too. So if you have a story to tell, it's not too late. And then lastly, because I do all these vendor events and bring people together, why not buy a salon? It's another way for me to support small business owners and bring people together through unique vendor events. So I do a second Sunday series called Self-Care Sunday at my salon. And finally, I got to where I wanted. What got me to do this was celebrating women and bringing women together. And I just produced Celebrate Her at the beginning of this month, a fashion show and women's showcase, which is going to be an annual event. And bringing women together and celebrating women is what this was all about. So, thank you. I didn't think I was going to do that in 6 minutes.
That was like a perfect 6 minutes. Does this work? No. Okay, well, that's fun. This one likes to work until it's time to work.
That'll be our talking stick
again. I'm so sorry. Thank you so much. We're going to do open Q&A now. Who has a question?
What's one adventure that you said yes to that you were like, man, I'm not sure I want to do this, but then it turned out to be amazing, way better than doing stuff?
Pretty much every single thing that I do has been terrifying. And I can't really explain it to anyone. I just know I'm supposed to do it. I just feel it. And I figure it out. But starting a business, deciding I was going to do this, I showed up to my first networking event with just business cards and my ideas. And that was terrifying. And I felt like a misfit in the business world. And so it was really, really scary. And when I decided a year ago that I was going to open Everyday Girl Adventures studio space, that was really terrifying because I was committing to investing in myself and just my ideas. And we're actually going to be celebrating our 1-year anniversary on April 5th. And we're doing a big First Friday OCC artist showcase, vendor showcase. And I couldn't have seen that a year ago. I just knew I was supposed to do it. But it was really scary. But I'm even surprised when I see these things happen. And they're worth it.
Hey, Jean, one of the things that I've struggled with in saying yes to everything is not getting anything done. And there's a huge thought out there by some of the really successful people that say, hey, 9 out of 10 things that come your way you need to say no to. And just to keep yourself on track, how do you deal with that? Or what are your thoughts on that, maybe?
Well,
do you understand my question?
I do. It's about prioritization, really. And for me, yes. People always compare me saying yes to everything to that movie, The Yes Man. And they're like, so you just say yes to everything? And I'm like, no, that's not how it happens. I say yes to things that seem fun. So if it's fun, I'm going to do it. But I can't always say yes. Sometimes there are things that are happening at the same time and I have to pick. And then sometimes I have to focus and actually get these things done. So for instance, the book writing, that doesn't happen by itself. The editing, like we have all these stories coming in and I want to be published by June 12th again so that we can be on schedule. And so I have to buckle down and I have to put everything aside and the things that I would have said yes to before aren't as important when I'm focusing on what is. So I am a huge procrastinator though. So I will be like, but I want to do this right now, so I can do that tomorrow. So I haven't done my taxes yet. So, but I know I have time, so it'll get done. I'm really, really good at working under pressure. So and working in retail for so long taught me how to multitask I'm really good at multitasking and doing several things at once. And so, but sometimes I do have to say no to some things and just be okay with that. And that was something that was really hard for me for a long time.
It's not working, just yell. But it's almost.
Just use your outside voice.
Outside voice. So, since you've started this whole adventure, what is the scariest thing you've done?
This, quite honestly, standing up in front of people and telling them my story is absolutely terrifying. I couldn't have done it a couple of years ago. When I decided to start this business, I was like, what am I doing? I can't. And actually, when I started Misfit Networking, I wasn't going to start it. I wanted somebody else to. I kept telling everybody at these networking events that I would go to, I'm like, somebody needs to create a group for Misfit entrepreneurs. And people would be like, ooh, what's a Misfit entrepreneur? And I'm like me, somebody with a day job that can't do traditional networking, and it provides a safe space for people that feel out of place. And people were really intrigued by the idea, but finally somebody was like, you should do it. And I'm like, I'm not doing it. I can't talk in front of people. And if you create something like that, you have to be the one that's the face of it. And so that was really, really hard for me to do. But when I decided to do it, I was committed. And I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to do this, but I'm going to do it. And that's pretty much how I approach everything.
When is that your network?
I'm sorry?
When is your network?
So it's on Miscellaneous Monday evenings. I let the business owner choose. The next one is on April 15th. And remind me of who's Carol Van Ness. She's hosting that one. So actually, when I started that group, I just was like, I just need a woman-owned business that'll let me come into her space and let me bring women there to learn about her business and connect. And so that was the basic idea I had with it. And I wasn't going to have it on Monday, funny enough, but I love alliteration. I was going to do it the last Thursday of the month or something, because Misfits are last. And and then I was like, Misfits have to meet on Monday, miscellaneous Mondays. So I love words that go together.
Good morning. I'm happy to see you here. I know I have approached you and said, hey, have you thought about presenting? And you did, so I'm happy to see you here. I don't think that you're doing too many things. I love it. It looks like branding to me. So I'd like for you to tell us what are the next steps in your branding, or how you will build your branding and the things that you're doing currently.
So the studio spaces, I started with Everyday Girl Adventures, and at first I wanted to do a membership program that had something for women to come to every week. But the problem with that was they didn't show up. I did get people to sign up to be a member right away because they thought it sounded fun, but it's really hard to get people to come to events. So I started thinking about that, how I could make the space work for me as opposed to me working for the space. And I decided I was going to start giving people their own benefits to use it. So now what's included in the membership is 2 hours of usage every month, and they can have their own event and do whatever they want to. And I don't have to be there. So, and then pretty soon we're going to start some co-working days where people can come in. And then when the opportunity to get the adjoining space next to it came, that was really scary for me, because I finally got to a point where I was having enough events and memberships and all the things that were finally paying for the first space. Now I'm starting all over and I have another space. So, but the cool thing is they kind of like coincide together, and everything I do, this is interesting to me. Every single thing that I have started is a struggle. It's hard to get it going. It's hard to get people to show up. But then as soon as I figure that out, then I don't have to work as hard, and it works for itself. So like, for instance, the studio space, people rent it for baby showers, bridal events, workshops, photo content, all kinds of stuff. And I don't have to be there. And so people ask me about that all the time. And then salon too. You know, I named it Local Legends because I wanted to make legends of the local community and small businesses. And so I do vendor events through my self-care Sundays, and people ask me but it's a booth rent salon. So again, I don't have to be there. And so people always ask me, how's the salon going? I'm like, I don't know, I don't work there. I just come on second Sunday. But so really what inspired all of this is, like I said, my sister time and the adventures and memories that we created. And one of my sisters works in the space industry, and she does these really cool space events. And I've gotten to not only support her, but also assistant produce in some of these really cool events. One of them was a space gala in London, and she brought over 11 astronauts, and it was an awards show. It was really, really cool, and it was amazing to be a part of. And I was like, I want to do this. I want to do these meaningful events for people to come to, but I want to make them affordable. So everything I do, I want it to be affordable in the community. And so Celebrate Her, which I produced at the beginning of this month, to kick off Women's History Month, was really, really perfect. And what was crazy was I had to switch venues at the last minute, but I kept wishing for a better venue. I got a free venue, and then things started coming together, and it started getting more fancy, and I'm like, I don't know if I'm ready for this. But it was my vision. I wanted to do these really cool things that everybody felt like they were a part of. So what was really cool about that was, because all these sponsors started coming in last minute, I had to add an after party, and I got to showcase my studio in that. But I also provided a limo as a shuttle service. And some of the people that came were like, I have never been in a limo before. I've never gotten to go to an event like this before. So that's really what my passion is. And I was like, I finally did something meaningful. And so I'm going to continue doing that at least a couple of times a year. So.
Thank you, Malik, for the...
It works. Good morning. You kind of answered my first question. So, well, one, I admire your ability to be quick off your feet, and because I know I can't do events like that. So, but good for you. When you say everyday girl adventures, are you having more events where you can start including men as well?
I do already, actually. So actually, and Misfit Networking is always a place for women to come to. But when it is a woman and man-owned business, I've been doing that as a co-ed event. So, and then Everyday Adventures, the book, because guys wanted to tell stories too. And that was my original idea. I have 3 sons. I have 5 brothers. I'm not a man hater by any means. But what inspired me to do all these things was women showing up for each other and coming together. So those space events that I was talking about that my sister does, it's usually an all-woman production team, and seeing all these different women from all walks of life, astronauts and regular everyday women like me, coming together for the same purpose, that was really, really inspiring for me. So that's why I focused on the women time first. But my passion has always been the everyday adventures for everyday people. And so even Celebrate Her, that was not just for women. Men came to that as well. So most of my events outside of Misfit Networking, men can come to too. First Friday, I actually, people that I know, a lot of men that I know that think that I only do women events, I'm like, come to that, it's really fun. We do a fondue open house and showcase an artist. Yes, I do primarily showcase women because that's, I think that it's needed to highlight women because we don't always get that. And we do show up for each other. We are inspired by each other's journeys. But yes, men can come to the events as well.
So love your presentation. I mean, it's just amazing, your presence. You've used the word shy several times. You've used the word terrified. You've used fear. I'm imagining there's a number of other entrepreneurs here who struggle with the fear that goes into trying to start something new and trying to get things started. I'm wondering what kind of advice you would give people to how to face the fears that come inevitably when you're putting yourself out there and trying to create something new.
Well, this is easier said than done, but believe in yourself, because that's really, I have to talk myself into it. Like Jamie, my business partner over there, is doing the video for me. She is my my right hand. And also, don't do everything alone. That's one thing that I noticed is I can't do all of this stuff alone. And so when people want to help, I'm super grateful for that, but I have to ask for help too. And so how do you get past the fear? Passion. That's really the only thing that drives me to continue doing these things, because you can hear the shakiness in my voice because I haven't done this in the morning yet. I actually get a lot of practice with Misfit Networking, and I was like, whose idea was this? It was mine. And I can't blame anybody but myself for coming up with all this crazy stuff. And that's what makes me do it, because I see people watching, and I wanted to inspire people just like me. And so I want to show them if I can do it, they can do it too.
As an entrepreneur, I know you probably have many superpowers and strengths, but we do have gaps. Can you share some specific, whether it be people or relationships or businesses that have helped you close gaps, and just share like where other people have had to come in, and just that side of the story?
Well, I mentioned Jamie over here. When I decided I was going to write a book called Everyday Girl Adventures and have women come in and write stories too, I didn't really know what I was doing. I didn't know how I was going to go with a traditional publisher, and then I quickly found out how expensive that is. And I was already investing all of my money into all these other things I was doing, but I was still very committed because that was one of the first things I wanted to do. So I still wanted to make it happen, but I didn't know how. And so Jamie here is actually a teacher, and she has the background for editing. And so I leaned on her heavily, and her guidance on how to get this done. We both put a lot into it and figured out how to do it as regular people. But without her expertise in some areas, I wouldn't be able to do some of this stuff. And even like Misfit Networking, I started that because Apricot Lane Boutique, the owner, Charlene Harrison, she reached out to me because she liked my business name and asked me if I wanted to have a pop-up in her boutique, literally 5 minutes after I wished for a women-owned business to provide a space for me. So I went and I met her later that day, and she didn't know me from anyone, but she heard my passion and she heard my ideas, and she took a chance on me. And she's let me do several events in her boutique that I wouldn't have gotten to do otherwise. So I definitely require the help and support from other women in the community.
One quick yes or no question. Does your studio have a kitchen?
It does.
Thank you. And then you kind of already answered what my bigger question was, because I went to an event recently where I heard something really powerful for me, that one is the most dangerous number in business. And I was going to ask about strategic partners that you formed, and which you kind of already answered, but if there's any others you want to give a shout out to, I just think it's important. You've done some big, audacious things that required capital, obviously. How did you not do this alone, and who have been some of your strategic partners in this?
Well, first I invested in myself and I used all of my savings. So that was really scary for me because I didn't know if I was going to lose all my money. So that was really hard. But then I started finding creative ways to do things. And my daughter, she's my event assistant now. So when I can't be in two places at once. And so when I accidentally overbook myself, which I've done a few times, then I enlist her help, or Jamie's as well. Like, if I can't be there, I can trust them to represent what I'm doing. And sometimes I do feel like I'm doing this all by myself, and that is really scary. But then I remember that I have all these people that believe in me and are willing to help. So I do definitely value that and use it when I need to. Did that answer your question?
Hey, so first off, I commend you. I'm over here.
I'm like, where are you at?
First off, I commend you for doing this. I know we spoke briefly, and good job. Take a breath. You did great. It was fantastic. So the final question here is, what can we as a Colorado Springs community do to help you?
Well, we've talked about this several times. It's that support system, and something I'm really, really bad about is asking for help and asking for sponsors, because a lot of the things that I do require some sponsorship. I can't pay for it all by myself. And then, like, Celebrate Her, it was such a good idea. And then when people started noticing what it was, they started coming in last minute. So what the community could do to help is refer business partners to me, because I love to collaborate. I love to connect with other people that want to come along on this ride and do some really fun things together. But I also showcase a lot of businesses, and I create, actually Jamie creates the flyers, that showcase these business owners. So it's an opportunity for me and for other business owners as well to create some really cool things in the community. So just more partnerships, and check out some of my events, because they are really fun.